Hey guys, um, welcome to the stream, the Wednesday stream. Good to see you guys around already in the chat. Um, hope everything's all right. I think everything should work fine. I was supposed to get like a new microphone today, tried it out, and it didn't really work. So back to the old stuff. But I think it works. Should be fine. Um, Before we start, big shout out to our sponsor Bybit. They make this show possible. So thank you a lot. Thanks a lot for that. And if you want to check them out, check the links in the description to their social media and their platform. I see the microphone and the video and everything is going well. Thanks for the feedback. How can you mess up a new mic? I didn't mess it up, man. I just I got it yesterday, set it all up, and it just didn't work today. Or like not in the way it was supposed to anyway. So back to the old one. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Bitcoin a lot today. I think might go over some altcoins because we mostly look at the Bitcoins, right? Like the ones, the big caps like ADA, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. Those all of them just kind of look bad or boring. Besides maybe ETH, but even ETH is kind of struggling right now. But the ones with lower market caps, there's some that break out. Like Loomdot and I talked about Stratus yesterday, and that went off. And there's a few more, so we might talk about some of them. But like our main focus is gonna be Bitcoin, just because it's gonna be the one that decides where everything else is headed, right? Cred says like the video, otherwise you don't get food. Yeah, so if you want to support, like show your appreciation for the stream, do leave a like. I was assured it helps, so I mean, why not? Nobody told me to buy Stratus fucking duck. Not my fault, dude. You didn't ask. Should have asked me, dude. Should I buy Stratus? And I would have told you yes yesterday. But yeah, back to the charts. Start with Bitcoin. And I think I'm gonna keep this stream a little bit looser than the last one, just because I mean it's not a video, right? It's a back and forth between you and me. So I think that's where we're headed. So I'm gonna do like a little bit looser format, let you guys ask questions and such. So yeah, if you want the kind of orderly, very well thought out style, I think you've got the expert in cred for that. I'm the one that is chaotic and all over the place, but we'll make do. We'll make do. So, looking at Bitcoin, right? Big time frames, nothing's changed. Monthly close. I mean, we talked about this before. In the middle of nowhere, didn't really close above a level like I would wanna have it, right? You could argue, okay, Bitcoin closed above this level, so it's bullish, right? In my opinion, if you see these kind of closes way too tight, this isn't something I would trust, right? It's just not for me. This could also be a close at resistance. Yeah, it's just way too close, so not really bullish, not bearish, just indecisive, right? So don't want to look at that too much. The area up here, the one that I've marked out red, that's the one that's really important, the 10K area, act as strong support at resistance for a few times already. So yeah, if we get back up there again, probably not gonna hold until we do get back up there again. We're gonna assume we got rejected by it, so we're gonna head to support, right? That's my general kind of view on this. We had it into resistance, got rejected, probably gonna go for support, but no strong conviction. Like I said, closed above resistance, but just tiny, like by a tiny bit, so nothing too big there. and then obviously this as the big support in the area, which would make this look like an inverse head and shoulders, right? On big time frames. Okay, that's big time frames. Like I said, the 10.5, like in pretty much every stream, the 10.5 level is still intact. If we get back up there again, like above 10k, start closing on lower time frames at 10k, probably gonna rate this area. And then, I mean, you have the next monthly level marked out. Oops, which is up here. So yeah, until this isn't broken, no dice. And the weekly, kind of choppy. You could draw resistance in a million ways here, right? So you could argue this is resistance, and you could argue this is the better resistance level, and then you could also say, okay, 10.5 is just the most important level. In general, this is just an area of resistance. Doesn't really matter if you draw it like this, like with the line from here, or like the line from up here. You just gotta know that this entire thing is resistance. So until we don't close back above there, I don't think it makes much sense to kind of pray for a breakout. I mean, you could obviously pray for a breakout, but I mean, the chances of it breaking out through resistance immediately is obviously lower than getting rejected by it. But yeah, nothing really changed on these time frames, so I'm gonna gloss over them. If you really wanna see like what I think about them, I think I talked about it in the last stream for longer, so you can rewatch that. The smaller time frames are the ones that are a little bit more interesting right now. And yeah, let's have a look at them, right? And then I'll see what the chat has to say. Generally, we have the situation where we have a range, right? Highest close from the entire rally up, and then where we retrace to once we did retrace, right? Those are the two areas that immediately jump at you. So I've marked them out and marked them as my range high and my range low, right? So you have a range low down here, it's the green line, range high, the red line. Generally speaking, when you have a ranging market, you want to be a buyer at the range support and the seller at the range resistance, right? So we ran into resistance, got rejected by it, retested it, and then failed. That makes me think we're going to be heading for support. Something that we've talked about in last stream as well. I mean, nothing's really changed. Market's been a little bit boring, but I mean, it is what it is. Just going to have to deal with it. And usually when you have these kind of consolidations, right, those kind of consolidations precede big moves. So we've gone sideways forever. The longer this goes on, the bigger the move after is going to be. And the stronger the trend, obviously. So bulls really want to see, like, even if it plays out bearishly from here, right? Could see this happen. They want to see accumulation here and then have this entire thing be a trap and then shoot up. Like, that's the, it goes down now, but ultimately it plays out bullish scenario, right? And then there's also the one that we just break out here and then go back up. And I think we talked about this in the last stream as well. The moment we start closing or like going back above breakout levels, going back into the 10Ks, it's probably just gonna rally, right? So those are like the two bullish cases I can see. Like either this just goes straight up from here, which I think is unlikely, but could happen, right? So if we go up here, start closing above range high, I wouldn't like, if we start closing at range low at support down here, I would assume if it goes sideways in here, doesn't immediately go lower, I would assume that any move back into the range would be bullish and we play out to the upside. I wouldn't assume the same thing for the upside here, because I mean, you could make the same argument, right? Okay, if you expect accumulation or like some kind of any kind of buying in here to kind of lead to an up move, why do you not expect the same up here? And the reason is simple. We've already tested this level, got rejected by it, retested it bearishly. So I mean, I just think the level up here is kind of cooked, and even more so, given that we have the 10.5 level just above it, which we've hit twice, but never really went above. So we've got a lot of people with stops in the 10Ks. If we start going back up there, I don't think it's going to play out the same way. So bulls have a little bit more chance. If it goes down here, it could still go up. Bears are pretty much crushed, I think. If it just like goes sideways in here, like I don't think that would be good for bears. Something that we could obviously see happen as well is it goes up and then gets rejected at like 11 to 12K. But in general, starting from 10K probably heads quite a bit higher, and it doesn't really have to fail below 8.5K. But it obviously could, right? So, I mean, you could argue, okay, you've just been saying a lot of stuff, but in the end, it's just like, okay, it could go up, could go down, right? But that's not the case. I'm assuming down. That's kind of my main assumption, right? Gonna look for any kind of strong buying down here, and if that happens, try to position long. If we start going up here, I'm gonna try to position long as well. So like those are the two cases where I start to long, right? I don't really want to do anything in the middle of the range in here. Other than like I think still selling makes more sense given we've tested the high of the range already, even retested it and had a strong reaction to it. So that's kind of my view on it. And if we just start breaking down here, like I want to see some sideways in here minimum and then move back into the range. If we start entirely failing down here, I'm just gonna look at 6K-ish. Okay, I think that makes sense, even though it's like up or down. I think chances are it goes down, and then we're gonna see at 8.5 or just a little bit below. And if that fails, 6, like high as 6, but not assuming that right now. Okay, let's see what the chat has to say, because you guys been active quite a bit. Hope all is well from across the pond. Keep up the good work. Thanks man. Appreciate it. What should happen for the green box? Do you mean if it goes down here? I'm probably just gonna buy it. Like the first time, there's something that you usually get with supports, right? And we can kind of go into some other stuff, other than like just looking at the chart, but making a concept clear, right? Let's say you have support for some reason, like I mean, maybe you had a down move here, consolidation, move down, right? And then you move back up. The first test of this, like this might go on forever. The first test of this usually ends up bouncing. If it's still bearish, right? And I mean, obviously the support goes longer. And excuse my shitty drawing. It's kind of what I'm known for. If it's bearish, it breaks after. If it's bullish, just goes up. Either way, if you position yourself at the level, chances are you're gonna get at least a bounce off of it, which you can either sell into if you see weakness, or just hold on to if you see strength. So like these kind of tests, if they're not like, you wouldn't want to see something like this, obviously, right? Let me make this in a different color. So you wouldn't want to see this kind of thing, right? You wouldn't want to buy that generally. Like I wouldn't. I don't like these kind of structures. I would assume something like that would break down ultimately. But if you like you could long this and then once you see no reaction, you could get out, right? But in general, I like these kind of this red structure more. But personal preference. I mean, you can do whatever you want to. But yeah, these kind of levels, if you buy them, and if the sell-off isn't like just too aggressive, it's usually at least good for bounce. And if you want like a recent example for that, this was the 3-day chart that I've used during the latest down move. These drawings don't get better, do they? Every time I draw something, it gets worse. This 3-day level had like, and these are, I'll just put those on, put those away to make it more obvious. Okay, so this 3-day level, right? We've chopped through it, but it's been an incredibly accurate support resistance level, right? We just moved through it here a few times, but the moment we stopped breaking down, I looked at this level and was like, okay, there's probably gonna be some kind of reaction to it. We didn't just immediately fail. We had some reaction to it. I don't really like the follow through, right? And it's been tested quite a bit, like with this wick, and then again in here. So it's not necessarily something that you want to blindly buy, but it's something that you can take profits on into when you're shorting, right? But yeah, I don't know. I look for these kind of like, I don't even mind if you have like a support level or a support box. And just Jesus, I'm just gonna do a box. I don't have to draw straight lines. Like let's say this is support level, right? And you move through it like this, go back up. Like this test oftentimes bounces, even though we've had it disregarded during these tests. It's just something like sometimes these levels, even though you think they're bad because they've been like not used twice, they're still good and they can still do something. And in this case, it did, right? Just stop the breakdown. So I don't tend to like if I have a really good level and gets disregarded a few times, I don't tend to just immediately remove it. I just look for some more interactions with it. Don is tired, broken sleep schedule as usual. Yeah, dude. So the story behind that, right? And I'm not gonna go into it too much, but I got a delivery this morning, and my sleep schedule is complete. And like ever since Corona, it's been really bad. But the thing is, like, I got to bed like at 4, and then slept at like 5 in the morning, and then got a delivery at 8. So I've slept like 3 hours, but it is what it is, right? Just gonna finish the stream and then head to bed probably. But yeah, anything unclear about this? I know that like this wasn't the most scientific explanation. Trading really isn't about like being, in my opinion anyway, being like super scientific. A lot of this stuff is just like it comes down to experience, and something that I don't hear people talk about a lot. But I mean, the longer you've been trading a market and gotten to know the market, the better you're gonna understand it, and you kind of gonna see which levels work, which don't, which you remove, which ones to just leave on the chart. Just looking at these charts every day, like even the higher time frame ones, see how candles react to it. That does help. Does help. But yeah, I think we've looked at the bigger time frames enough. We can look at the lower time frames because we did that last time, and I think it went quite well. This is something I post on Twitter. For the people that haven't seen it, it's just a fractal that I found, which kinda is acting similar. I've had this little pop-up in here, which is way smaller than this, right? But otherwise, it's pretty much similar. You have a move up into breakdown, into like a nasty breakdown too, and then it creeps up, kind of retests, and in this case, you obviously had this wick to the downside, but like the close is pretty Like it's a retest of the close, right? And this case a little bit more violent, but still very similar. And yeah, so far it's pretty accurate. We'll see how it plays out. Generally speaking, I want to see like low time frame. I want to see this level get broken to the upside if it wants to be bullish at all. Otherwise, like even if you want to be like a mega bull, I think you're gonna find longs down here rather than into resistance. But I don't know. We'll see if it breaks up here. Maybe we see some kind of squeeze, which I don't think changes much of the bigger picture, but it's just like my small time frame view, right? As long as this holds, that's bearish as well. Technical round. Do you guys trade without indicators based on support resistance? I mean, yes, mostly. I do sometimes turn indicators on, and I've actually had a friend of mine give me some indicators to test. So I'm gonna test them in the next few weeks, see if I like them, like some that he made and stuff. But I report back how I like it. You're gonna hear from me. But yeah, the chat's Cred's just derailing the chat, which is fine, and I don't have like I'll have Cred handle the chat, and I just do whatever I do. And then if you have any questions, just like directed at me, just at like write an at technical roundup, and I'll see it. Okay. So yeah, Bitcoin is pretty straightforward. I think we've talked about it enough. I might do like a quick kind of summary later at the end of the video or something for the people that come in late or just want like a brief overview of it. But until then, we're just gonna look at the altcoins. I think probably a lot of you care about the altcoins just as much as Bitcoin. So yeah, ETH still nothing happening. I mean, I've streamed last week, talked about ETH. There's literally no change whatsoever. Uh, Usually, you don't want to see this kind of momentum for a breakout. So we kind of broke out of the trading range, no momentum. But it's also not the momentum you want to see for a breakdown, right? So nothing on this front, no changes, not interesting. Like, why would you trade this if you can trade some of the smaller ones? And we'll go over some of the smaller ones. So, or should I give an example? Like for example, Stratus, right? Let's do the example Stratus. This is Stratus on the daily, right? And stuff like this always interests me when you have a breakdown that gets reclaimed. Usually you get like an up spike, right? And why would I trade ETH? That let me actually put it up on the second monitor, or like on the second screen, whatever this is called. Why would I want to trade this? Right? Movements of 2% in like 2 days. Like even if you use the extremes, 4%, when you can trade this shit. And I mean, this obviously carries more risk, right? But I think it makes more sense right now to focus on those ones. Just because if you want to trade ETH, you might as well just trade Bitcoin. And it's the same thing with all the other majors. Just that they're a worse version of Bitcoin. ETH's been kind of like a little bit outperforming, but I mean, not really, right? Nothing significant. Some of the altcoins have been outperforming by quite a large margin. But yeah, so for all these big ones, like why would you touch it? I don't really, other than like shorting it. I mean, I could see short this stuff. Look, like just looking at it, it's looking really weak. But then again, you're shorting support, right? starting to get like ranges and stuff. Could argue, oh, this is a range. But then again, like even if you look at these small time frames, what you see is a failed breakout and 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. I mean, these didn't quite reach, but close enough, right? But 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests. This is not something I would ever want to long. So, I mean, yeah, I would stay away from these. If you want to trade something, look at these smaller ones. I mean, just makes sense to me. And then just find good setups, right? And there's a few good setups where it starts looking decent, right? I mean, it's the same setup as Stratus. Doesn't have to play out. And the reason why Stratus played out the way it did, right, is because there's some form of news coming. That's what I said in the last stream as well. If you trade these small coins, right, look for positive news in combination with the chart looking decent, and then you get these pops. So, I mean, you're wasting your time if you're taking these big ones right now. They're obviously not gonna be too exciting forever. But if you have to trade altcoins, and I mean you don't have to, right? There's not really a need to in the current climate because Bitcoin is gonna dictate where everything goes. But if you have to trade these altcoins, look for these ones, like the ones in my list pretty much. There's a few more, obviously. This is just the ones that I look at. But like for example, Nano, right? It's been my chart for a while. Range low, gets chopped through. This is what we said earlier can happen. Acts as resistance, acts as support, right? Even like this got chopped through, doesn't matter. It's not terrible. Even more so with these altcoins, because this being chopped through could just be one person selling, right? Let's say you have 10 Bitcoin or like 15 or like 20 Bitcoin of Nano, right? Which a lot of people do. And you just lose your faith or just see another altcoin take off and you greed out and sell your Nano, buy another one. You could make this chart look like this if you sell at the right time. So with altcoins, you're gonna have to be a little bit more lenient because they're gonna wick higher. They're gonna, in general, be less liquid, right? So you're not gonna get the perfect. For some, you obviously get the perfect retest, right? So for example, here you got it, but it's not always the case, and it doesn't have to be. It's more about the structure, and I mean, trading altcoins in general is, yeah, it's just a game of, okay, searching for liquidity. It's easier the smaller your account balance is. This kind of like the gift that the altcoins have in store for the people that haven't been in the market too long, so that they don't have like a huge war chest. So if you're just trading with smaller size, you can abuse inefficiencies with these markets, right? But yeah, still, like even if you're trading bigger sizes, like some of these coins have some nice setups. But yeah, this was a retest, took off, went all the way into range high. This is the range high. I mean, that's already a good move. And then it's obviously going a little bit higher. That doesn't, like me saying these, like some of these charts look decent, doesn't mean I'm saying, okay, the downtrend's over, right? I'm not saying, okay, this is gonna go up. I mean, I'd be already very happy if these coins go to the next resistance levels, like up here, and then go back down. But yeah, you can obviously still trade good setups, right? And it's something that I haven't done enough lately, just because I've been focused on Bitcoin. But yeah, there's some good charts, so that should definitely make a list. This is the easiest way to just check a few charts at a time, right? So if you wanna have a lot of charts or like monitor a lot of coins, don't type them in individually. Just add them to your trading view list. Makes it whole lot easier, and then you can just cycle through. Takes you, like if you look at these charts every day, Just takes you like 5 or 10 minutes to get through all of them, and then you just add coins whenever you find something interesting. But yeah, so yeah, we've had a few breakouts, we've had a few good movers. WeChain, for example, another one where you have resistance, it gets tested, which is a bearish retest, right? And then support holds and retests resistance again. The moment this retests, you can be, okay, this is going to be interesting because it's already retested it once. So the likelihood of it holding again, even more so because it's just like a few weeks ago. Like this retest has a little bit more time. So this had more chance to hold as like a bearish retest. It didn't. But like this had a higher chance than this test, right? Just because of the time between them. You don't want to have like whenever you have a movement, if you have something like this goes back down and retests like way later, the chance of it holding are higher than if you have a move that goes like this, right? And even if you have a move like this is resistance. It goes up and it goes as steep as down here and then immediately goes back up. The chances of it breaking out are much higher than in this instance. It's just a time aspect. Like if it goes very, very quickly, it usually means that you have either you have people trapped down here or you have people that FOMO sold or like fear sold at the bottom that want to get back in. So yeah, with like longer times between them, it's less likely to break on at least the first try. If it tests again, then you have the same situation where it's very likely to break out. Okay, enough of a tangent, right? But in this case, you've got the second retest, which obviously didn't hold, got a close through it, and then from there, we talked about this in the last stream with Tether, went to the next resistance, and I think that's a good trade already. So these kind of setups you can look out for. It's mostly ones where resistance doesn't do its job, I think, for altcoins right now. I usually like altcoins, like buy altcoins when they break below support and look absolutely horrible. But when nothing's moving, altcoins can be played from level to level. Or when they're like trading below a level and then come back into it, because then you know it's very likely that it's going from this point to the range high at least. Like it's trading in this range, trades below it. The moment it comes back into it, very likely to trade into the range high. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me, but I don't know if I explained it well enough, so do let me know. How did you color code the altcoins in your watch list? I mean, it's just based on personal preference, right? So, for example, I really like Tether when it started breaking out here, so I put it on like higher priority, so that's why it's blue. I like BAT as an altcoin in general, that's why it's blue. I don't really like this. Like, uh, it's the same thing that I talked about earlier with ETH, right? Why would you want to trade BAT, which moves like nothing? Like this is like 14%, when you can just trade the other altcoins that move 50, 100, 200. It's just the opportunity cost of like BAT has performed really, really well, right? All overall, if you're a holder and you're holding BAT since the top, right? Let's say you bought the top of January in 18, you're down 58%. That's way better than most other altcoins did, right? So BAT in general has performed really, really well. And I think that kind of shows its underlying strength. But the fact of the matter is, it hasn't really moved in ages. And something that doesn't really move, you don't want to play while altcoins are going in a range, because this thing is in a very tight range. You want to play the altcoins that are trading in very, like, if you have a range like this, right? That is like 100%. So if you buy the bottom and sell the top, you make it times 2. And you have a range like this that goes 10%. I mean, it's obvious which one you want to be looking at, right? It's obvious. It's always the case that you have more risk in this one, but you're gonna be stuck in this one for ages. You don't wanna be stuck in a trade for ages, in general, just because the longer you're stuck in that trade, the less chances you have just opening another trade or looking for something else. I mean, you're gonna be stuck in a trade. Think about it, and if it just doesn't play out or takes forever to play out, uh, it drains your energy, and it's just not worth your time, right? Whereas if you have like these big ranges, even if you're wrong and you get stopped out, at least you get stopped out quickly. The worst thing for you is to be stuck in a trade, maybe even second guess yourself about the trade, see other coins move really fast, and then get out of this trade before your invalidations hit, get in the other one, get wrecked because you buy the top. That kind of stuff never does well. So um, I like the chart long term. I like the coin in general, but I wouldn't trade the short term. It just doesn't make sense. What is this language for penguins? What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? Is this a diss? I don't know. Please do explain. And then the same thing, obviously, I like Dogecoin just for the coin itself. I like Nano because it's one of the ones that moves big. I like Komodo because the coin is good and it moves big. WeChain moves big as well. ICX moves big. You get the pattern, right? And then these ones, I like the coin or I think it's an interesting setup. And I could make this blue because it's actually one of the ones that's moves really really big as well. But yeah, that's kind of how I color code it. Like these are the ones that interest me more, and then these are the ones that I still want to have an eye out to answer the question, which took forever. Um, do you think altcoins respect TA when Bitcoin pumps or dumps? Why bother trading them? You can trade them when you like either when you expect Bitcoin to do nothing or when you have a plan. Like for example, the way I traded altcoins, and let's go like way back, right? So Bitcoin pumped to 20K, and when it started dumping, I expected that the Bitcoin top was going to be in, right? I expected 20K to be the top. Um, and I played it as such, so got out of Bitcoin, out of a lot of altcoins, and then I saw a lot of altcoins pump really hard. Like some of the positions that I sold, like I sold them while Bitcoin was going down, and they still times 5 against USD value, right? Like why that happened, in my opinion, is because the altcoins were used to kind of distribute Bitcoin. You had a lot of retail come into the altcoins, and you can sell the altcoins to them. Like they have to buy Bitcoin from you. You can sell the Bitcoin off, and then you can sell them like kind of worthless altcoins. Um, you could just gotta pump them a little, and then you get the retail mania and stuff, right? So you can make these kind of plans. I was caught like a little bit unaware. I still made money on the altcoins, but I could have made more. Um, but you can make these kind of plans, right? You're like, okay, Bitcoin's making sharp moves. Like let's say Bitcoin moves really fast upwards, right? And altcoins like this Bitcoin just accelerates to the upside, and an altcoin starts dumping and accelerates to the downside. This is obviously not going to go on forever, right? So the moment Bitcoin starts going up vertically, the altcoin's obviously going to bounce. So what you can look out for is one, capitulation on the altcoin, and then two, obviously the buying climax on Bitcoin. So when it gets completely crazy, and then instead of like shorting Bitcoin, and this is obviously only true if there's actually some interest in altcoins, but which we haven't had in like quite a while actually. Like altcoins haven't moved explosively in quite a while. But once they do so again, this is going to be interesting because I think like shorting the top of Bitcoin in these kind of moves when it's trending up is way worse than just buying the altcoins when they start capitulating into the Bitcoin moves. And it's obviously the same when Bitcoin dumps and altcoins dump along with it. When Bitcoin bottoms, the altcoin is gonna very likely bottom too, and then just move bigger than Bitcoin. So yeah, there's a reason to trade altcoins. There's like in some market conditions it makes a lot of sense. You can make a lot of money with them. It just matters, like the interest in altcoins in general just matters a lot. I don't think there's much interest right now, but that's gonna change at some point. I just don't know when. But you gotta keep it in mind. Like altcoins are not gonna be the boring kind of not moving things that we're having right now. Like at some point they're gonna trend again or like move big again. And yeah, I think like being able to trade altcoins is important in this market. What was the strat setup you love? Fuck off, dude. I talked about it earlier. You just weren't listening. Like this is why I like Stratus. I talked about this earlier. You just you have this massive candle to the downside, like massive sell-off, right? Coming to support. I mean, you could have bought support, but then again, who knows if this is gonna hold the 50th test of the support, right? But the more obvious play to me and the one that rewards you really quickly is when you have this rally into this resistance, which you shouldn't have, right? You shouldn't retest like this dump was from, I mean, we can actually make it sideways to explain the concept a little bit better. Let me get a Bitcoin fresh chart. So this dump, right? This entire dump was caused by Bitcoin moving up, right? If you look at where the dump happened, Stratus just went sideways and then it dumped off of Bitcoin pumping, right? It actually found its bottom the day Bitcoin topped. Went sideways and it started trending up. So you shouldn't really have retested this level up here if it was truly bearish, just because we started dumping from this level based on Bitcoin. And it's something that you can look out for as well. Like when Bitcoin does something crazy and an altcoin dumps or pumps and then reverts back, it's usually a sign that it's gonna explode in one direction or the other. So if Bitcoin dumps and an altcoin pumps, and then Bitcoin mean reverts back and the altcoin mean reverts back, then you usually get like a dump on the altcoin, and the opposite is true obviously when it pumps, and this is what happened. It's not the clearest setup, but you get the point. Even more so, like I said, there's some news involved in this. But yeah. And sometimes you just get the feeling that it's gonna pop. And in this case, it grinded up really nicely, right? So kind of went parabolic into resistance, so you can look out for that. Would you put in a buy in big green box to catch wick down into the support on BAT? I'm not really interested in putting like bids up right now, but I mean, I'd love to get buys here. Yeah, I mean, if we start going down here, I'm just gonna see if I can get some. But I don't know. In general, I don't know. Like this is just a setup that I'm like I would consider down here. But other than that, like it's just sluggish, right? And I don't like trading sluggish markets. It doesn't really make much sense. Other than like if you're super bullish on this, just invest in it by buying it, right? Start doing way better than other altcoins, so you know there's some underlying strength at least. Oh, the penguin thing was not directed at me. Okay. I thought that was like a very creative insult. Could you check TRX chart later? It has strong 4.0 coming on 7th July. Looks like decent trade from here and RR. It's the same thing as every other altcoin, dude. Like every other major altcoin. Like why would I trade this going sideways when I can trade the other ones? But if there's positive news coming, right, and you really want to get involved, and don't hate on me if this doesn't play out, right? But say you start closing above here, you can easily take it to the top of this box at least, I think. But I mean, I'm not going to take this trade. I don't like T-Rex. I don't like Justin Sun. So do with it whatever you must. I'm not going to trade it because I don't trust the guy. And I mean, I just have a dislike for it in general. Like I might trade this on the short side, but I'm not going to trade it on the long side again, I think. But yeah, I mean, there's not like there's obviously, you can obviously play long setups even if I don't want to, right? Just because I don't want to take a long, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just means that I don't want to. Yeah. In 17, altcoins moved a lot only if Bitcoin made pullbacks or sidelined. I mean, you mean sideways? Yeah, probably. I mean, in 17, you just had more interest in your coins, right? They kind of moved stronger, trended stronger. But I mean, that's gonna come back at some point. So yeah, gotta be prepared. I think it makes sense to look at these altcoins honestly. Like if you, I mean, everyone in crypto that I know starts out like you buy some Bitcoin, maybe to buy some altcoins, but generally you get Bitcoin, and then you kind of look at the altcoins, you see like the crazy gains, or like in general the crazy potential that you think they have. And I think most people got into this market, like, or traded actively to trade altcoins actively. So a lot of these people that did that kind of like went complete the opposite way. Went the opposite way and just focus on Bitcoin. So yeah, it's kind of, it feels like a lot of people are capitulating on altcoins. So I mean, for me, I personally would love, and this is why I have this kind of chart for Dogecoin, for example. I would love to have like this sideways is just super annoying for most people, for the holders especially. And then you have a lot of traders buying because they're like, okay, this is accumulation. I want to have these traders that buy in here, capitulate, uh, and pick their stuff up lower. Might not happen, but I mean, if I get it, I'd be very happy. So that's kind of like, this is my favorite setup. Trading range into breakdown, into strong support, into big move up. This is kind of what I'm looking for the altcoins, but who knows if that's gonna happen, right? Okay, let's answer a few more questions and then go back to like a brief overview of Bitcoin, and then I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we do. It will come down one more leg down, shakeout. I honestly think so, yeah. But who knows at this point? Like, this has just been like, it hit this line like here, and I was like, okay, it's gonna do this. Then it just didn't. Hit the line again. I was like, it's gonna do it. It didn't. But yeah, I really want to see this. Which just makes sense to me. And it's the same for a lot of these bigger coins. What is your view on the correlation with traditional markets, especially the SPY? We can actually talk about this. Do you just give me like a quick like sign that you guys are actually interested in that kind of stuff? But we could talk about the correlation with the SPX and what I think about it. So like the people that want to hear it, just write something in favor of it, and then we'll go over it in like a few minutes. But uh, yeah, I mean, you can just trade Bitcoin and you'd probably be fine. But there's definitely something going on, and yeah, talk about it, nerd. Okay, whatever. Creds the boss. So this has been my SVX chart. I'm not an expert, right? This is not my market. This has been my chart since literally since the breakdown, right? We started breaking down. I was like, okay, I mean, this entire range in here I've had for ages. We started breaking down below the swing low here, and I was like, okay, this is my kind of chart, my high time frame chart. And I was expecting, okay, maybe we get like a rally up here, and then like this would be where it just starts crashing down completely. What we did is a little bit different. We bounced a little off of this support here, right? And then completely crashed. And then reclaimed support and mega rallied. So we kind of ran into the resistance that I originally planned on, like that planned on being the lower high, whatever. Made it, and I think this is gonna stand for a while. And the reason why this is important is, and we can actually make this obvious on the chart. The reason, like the S&P being at resistance is important because you can actually compare them, right? And this is actually neat little feature that TradingView has. SPX Mini, and then you go on the lower time frames, and I mean you can clearly see that there's, I mean if you make it pretty, you can clearly see that they're trading, like that Bitcoin's kind of trading in the way of the SPX, right? So when you hit high time frame resistance on one of them, or like especially if you hit high time frame resistance for the SPX, right? You're gonna have to be careful with Bitcoin, and we did so at around here, and then just dumped off, right? So they're trading off of each other. Like they're not trading off of each other. Bitcoin's trading off the SPX. Something to watch out for. In general, it doesn't always do it. It's just something that when the SPX, like when it starts moving strongly, then it kind of comes back, right? So generally, we follow it, as in Bitcoin follows it a little bit, and then whenever strong moves happen, it follows it strongly. So you kind of have to watch both charts. I can only recommend that you watch the SPX for like the big high time frame resistances and supports. Like let's say the SPX moves down here, right, to pretty much the strongest support that on the chart, right? It's very likely that it's gonna bounce, and this bounce is very likely to translate to Bitcoin bouncing. So I mean, I know this doesn't sound scientific, and it just isn't really, but it's something that I've observed and a lot of other people have observed. So if you hit high time frame resistances, be careful with Bitcoin on the SPX. High time frame support is obviously the opposite. And then if you get small time frame, and this is an edge that you can use if you want, like let's say you wanted to short, right? You wanted to short Bitcoin. You look at the SPX, you see it start nuking, and you're like, okay, this is probably gonna go lower. Then you're gonna get a few dollar move on Bitcoin minimum lately anyway. So you get like a tiny move here, starts breaking lower. Bitcoin's probably gonna be delayed by just a few seconds to a few minutes. So you can definitely use it to your advantage, but don't just blindly trade it. So if you're like, okay, I don't know where Bitcoin's going, and then the SPX starts like going down, and you just blindly short, it might do something like this and then go back up, because this chart also wicks a lot. So yeah. But yeah, I think the thing with this is that if you trade it blindly like this, you're gonna lose money. But if you use it at important levels on the chart, it's some added confidence that you can use. So the reason why I was like not super afraid about Bitcoin, like shorting Bitcoin at the highs, was because I saw the SPX go, like expect the SPX to go a little bit lower. It's just a little bit of confidence that you can use. But like I said, it's not scientific. It's not my market. I think a lot of crypto people just kind of assume that they can trade every market. I don't think that's necessarily true. you trade your market and you're good at one market. And if you want to be good at another market, you're just going to have to spend time and get to know it. It's like if you're, I mean, if you're good, I don't know, like a race driver or something, right? Let's say you're really good at driving around your kind of uh, area or whatever, your track, right? At home, you're really good at driving in a circle, and then you go to a different racetrack, and that's more complicated or whatever, and you actually have to do something different. You're probably still gonna be better than like people that don't drive, but you're obviously gonna not know where to kind of be careful, how to treat the market in general, or like how to treat the racetrack in general. So I mean, it just makes sense that you don't just blindly jump into markets that you're not familiar with. Because even if you're like the godlike trader, if you don't know an edge in the market, you're probably not going to be better than the professionals in them. So got to be careful with that. I just use it for confidence in crypto, but I mean you can use it for whatever you want to. But I advise not to kind of jump ahead of yourself. Think, okay, I can trade these shit coins. I know how to trade the SPX. I'm a professional now. Yeah. Why are they correlating so well recently? I mean, I think they've correlated decently well the entire way. I think Bitcoin's just been creeping. Like, I think the correlation has kind of gotten more and more intense over the years in general. But I mean, I don't have this, like, it just feels that way. But I mean, I don't have the stats to back it up. I would have to look it up. But I think it's probably going to increase, but who knows? One of the best kind of things about Bitcoin is that it's not correlated. So the more it correlates, uh, the worse of a kind of trading asset it gets, because the less correlated it is, the more interesting it is. If you're such a good trader, why did you sell the newsletter? Oh, don't start about it, dude. Oh shit, wrong account. Oh, fuck off, credit. um, Bitcoin dumping live would make me happy, dude. I mean, it's kind of, and this is the chart that we've been looking at earlier, right? It's just retested resistance and it's not dumping. We talked about this chart before. Like, if you're a mega bull, you better, like, that's why I said don't buy into this resistance. Like, if you're a mega bull and really want to get long, and you're just saying, okay, fuck the weekly, I don't care about the monthly, I think this is going up. This is where you look. 9.25. You don't look to buy into resistance. But yeah, the newsletter is gonna be free. Yeah, Cred's saying the newsletter is gonna be free. Yeah, the newsletter is gonna be free. Was there some kind of setup? Shitty setup, if you ask me. Where's the weekly resistance level coming from? This is the weekly resistance level that I have on this chart anyway. But like I said, there's a couple. Okay, I think that kind of sums it up. Like I said, the higher time frames are not conclusive. There's some monthly resistance that we tagged, so I mean it makes sense to visit lower, in my opinion, but it's not entirely conclusive. The weekly, we're in a bunch, like we're at a bunch of resistances, and we've been getting rejected a lot. So I'm not assuming that's going to change, but if it does, I think we're going to at least 10.5, if not higher, probably higher, like squeeze above 10.5. But until that happens, expecting low as well on the weekly. And then the daily, I mean, that's just, and this is something that we didn't talk about before, fat is ascending triangle, right? A lot of people are drawing this kind of stuff, which, I mean, okay, whatever, do whatever you must, right? So they're like, oh, Donald, you're talking about this ascending triangle breaking down. Why are you not looking at this ascending triangle, right? And I mean, valid concern, but if you really want to talk about it, you've just had an ascending triangle breakdown, right? The chances are that because you've had this breakdown, you're gonna have this breakout. I'm not necessarily even sure if this is like, I wouldn't really use this as an ascending triangle, but like the argument that a lot of people made in my Twitter like comments, that I was looking at the wrong triangle. I think if you see this triangle break down, your your confidence in this entire triangle should be shaken. But I mean, if you want to buy the support like for the 5th or 6th time, I mean, be my guest. Could obviously go down, up, but yeah, I wouldn't, like, after a triangle already broke to the downside, why trust the second one? I wouldn't. Oh yeah, Kretz just throwing it in. I don't think I've said it anywhere. We're gonna have another guest on Friday. It's gonna be Jules Salsa Tequila. If you guys, you probably know him. He's the Degen on Twitter. Love the guy. Good friend of mine. Good friend of Cred also. I think. I don't know, but I think so. And yeah, he trades in an interesting way, so I think it's going to be valuable to come check out if you're kind of interested in that stuff. So yeah, make sure to come by on Friday if you're interested in like how, like, a completely different trading style to mine, like completely unrelated. He just fucking slaps on the 5-minute chart and goes at it and somehow has an edge. So yeah, if you're interested in that, come by on Friday. You can kind of DM me questions on Twitter that you really want to answer from him, or that you really want to have answered from him. But yeah, if not, we're just gonna go at it relatively relaxed like usual. Okay. Did you pay him more than Loom though? Don't tell him, but we didn't tell him that Loom was paid, so he just assumed it was free. So no payment went through there. And if you don't tell him, like, be silent about it, then we can keep it that way. Okay? It's a secret between you guys and me. So yeah, that's the stream from me today. I think we've gone over enough. Gave you some tools to look at the altcoins, I think, and we went over Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm gonna be on Wednesday again. Friday, like I said, Jules gonna be on. Monday, back to Cred, and yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks again to Bybit, the sponsor of this episode and show in general. Really appreciate it. Like I said, links are in the description. Show them some love. They've been really nice to work with, so yeah, really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks guys for coming around, sticking with me for an hour. And don't forget to like, otherwise, like, if I don't say it, Cred's gonna hit me again. So please, like, if we don't hit, like, I don't know, 250 likes, Cred's gonna destroy me again. Run after me with the broomstick or something. I don't know. He thinks of something every time. So yeah, make sure to drop a like as well. And yeah, thanks for coming by. See you guys next time. Bye bye.